Hi, boys and girls. I'm going to continue now to read Old Wolf. When we left off at chapter 39, Casey was in hot pursuit of a raven that we can, with his bow and arrow, that we can only assume is Merla. So it was a cliffhanger. So welcome back. Let's see what happens. Merla landed right in front of Nishaba. "Wake up!" she screamed. Nishaba opened his eyes. "Did you bring me more awful food?" "A human is coming this way," she cried. "Here?" said a startled Nishaba. Merla bobbed her head rapidly. "This direction." A jolt of panic swept through the wolf. Is he coming after me?" "I have no idea, but he's coming." Nishaba turned his head first one way, then another, but saw no signs of any human. Only when he sniffed did the human scent reach him. I smell him," he whispered. Fearful, he looked at Merla. "Is he trying to kill me?" "He has something in his hands," answered the bird. "I'm not sure what it is, but I've seen it before. I'm pretty sure it can kill." Bird and wolf stared at each other. Nishaba said, "I have one more kill in me." "No, you don't. You can't even move." Nishaba made no answer. Instead, he fought to gain some sense of his whole body. What would work, what would not. He pushed down with his rear legs. His rump came up. Knowing he had no choice but to endure the pain, he pushed down with his front paws, stressing the left side. He stood. Merla hopped back, bobbing her head with encouragement. Though he was standing, Nishaba felt miserable. When the forest seemed to spin around him and his body swayed, he closed his eyes. "Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall." He opened his eyes again. To his enormous relief, he was still upright. "Good," cried Merla. "Stay still. Gather yourself. Gather your strength." Nishaba struggled to find enough energy. Merla asked, "Feel better? Stronger?" "A little." "Now," said the raven, "try walking. Even a small step will be good. Lead with your left leg, easy on the right." The best Nishaba could do was hop his left leg forward a few inches. Trembling from nose to tail, he wobbled. "Any movement is better than none," said Merla. The wolf looked at the matted snow where he had been lying. There was blood, urine, and scat. He felt revulsion at himself. Clenching his teeth, he took another left leg hop toward Merla, who had jumped out of the way, and hauled the rest of himself along in the same direction. The effort worked, a bit. Moreover, the movement gave him some confidence. "I can walk," he said, proud of his small achievement, but embarrassed that he should feel so. "A little," returned the bird. "Where should I go?" Even as Nishaba asked the question, he realized he was leaving all decisions to the raven. "Anywhere, as long as it's away from that human," she replied. "I don't know how far I can manage." "Doesn't matter," shrieked Merla. "Wherever you get will be better than here." Nishaba took another hop and stepped forward. "Fine, good," the raven cried. "Keep it up. I'll go back to try and distract that human." "Don't put yourself in danger." "I'm small," Nishaba grunted. There's an old wolf expression. The smaller you think you are, the bigger you are." Merla opened her beak and stuck out her tongue. "Glad you listened." She flew off. Nishaba watched her swoop among the trees until she was lost to view. A good friend, he told himself. He turned and took another step. How far, he wondered, will I need to go to be safe? How far could he go? He glanced upward. 7 ravens were perched on the trees looking down at him. "They're still waiting for me to die," Nishaba thought. So that was a really important chapter. I like how the author took the time to tell us Nishaba's thoughts, because Nishaba, in his thoughts, talked about Merla being a good friend. So, in the course of this story, Nishaba, his relationship with Merla has changed. They've gone from strangers and someone that Nishaba felt annoyed by to friends. And he's really counting on Merla at this point to save his life. Chapter 41. Casey stood among the trees searching for the bird. If he could shoot it, he would feel a lot less dumb about the arrow he had lost. Standing there, determined not to mess up a second time, he again made himself try to review all 9 points of bow shooting in the archery book. Caw! Caw! Casey spun about and spotted the raven high in a tree, not where he'd expected. It really was just like the video game. He took his stand, knocked an arrow, set his grip. The next moment the bird flew off, but not so far as to be out of sight. I thought it was smart, Casey murmured. Birds in the game are smarter. Remember, she's trying to distract him. Relaxing his grip, he scooped up his arrows. Then he moved toward the bird, determined to get a shot. Chapter 42. Nishaba took 14 more hop steps. The effort exhausted him. His whole body quivered. The agony was great. Worst of all, he was aware that he had gone only a small way. I can't go anymore, he told himself, and slumped to the ground. Breathless, he lay in the melting snow, not knowing what else to do. He reached out and licked his wounded paw. Hearing a soft pit-pat, pit-pat, he looked around. It had begun to rain, the drops barely reaching him through the trees. From a distance, thunder rumbled. When he looked up, he saw that the watching ravens had flown away. Is that a good sign or a bad one? From a distance, he heard, "Caw!" Where, he wondered, is Merla? Had she managed to lead the human away? When she came back, he must tell her how grateful he was. Fingers crossed she comes back. Chapter 43. Twice, Casey had come to what he thought would be a good shooting range. Both times, at last moment, the bird had flown in an unexpected direction. Maybe she's not so dumb, he told himself, enjoying the hunt, ignoring the steady light rain. From far off, there was a flash of lightning. Seconds later, a soft thunder came. Following the raven's changeable flight path, Casey moved deeper into the forest. Every now and then he paused to check his surroundings. He knew the woods well enough to know where he was. When the bird eluded him again, Casey began to wonder if perhaps the bird was trying to lead him away from something. Probably, he decided, a nest of young ravens. He had a vague memory that they hatched around this time of year. The bird he was following could be their mother. He would like to see that nest. Caw! The raven reappeared in a different spot. Dropping all but one arrow, Casey knocked the one on his bowstring, knowing that the raven would fly off when he did. She did, just as predicted. Casey thought hard. The bird had gone first in this direction, then that, then that. Now she had headed another way. In his mind, Casey connected all the lines of flight like a diagram. Where, he asked himself, is the center of all those lines? Slipping the leftover arrows into his pocket like a quiver, Casey remembered a clearing about a quarter of a mile deeper in the woods. He decided that would be a likely place to find the raven's nest. If he was right, and he went toward it, and if the raven was defending the nest, he'd find her there. Then he could get her. Oh no. All right, guys. Stay tuned. I really hope he doesn't get her. Watch again soon. Bye.